Alright everybody, welcome to another episode of Psycho's Platters, always powered by coffee each and every time. What do we got today, ladies and gentlemen? What do we have today? That's right, we have another episode of that future award-winning, acclaimed, oh boy, Jukebox From Hell. Yes, that's right, Jukebox From Hell. On your scorecards today, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at episode 19. Episode 19. We are almost at the end of season 2. Next episode will be the end of season 2. But today, I want to mention, and as a quick little reminder here, if you will, to go check out my any of my previous Jukebox From Hells. Especially the latest one that I had, Styx's Serpent is Rising. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, if you're a Styx fan, if you're a fan of prog music, go check that out. But today we are not talking about prog music. We are not talking about 70s music. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about, here for episode 19 of Jukebox From Hell, the 1981, June of 81 to be exact, Village People's Renaissance. That's right. Here's the front and here's the back. Alright. For a record collecting standpoint, you're going to be looking at, they went back, if I remember correctly, it was 1977 is when they flipped to this label, okay? But this is 1981. So you'd be looking at a black RCA US Press Victor. This one here, a little bit of a cutout hole per se, but yeah. So I mean, we got this. So just to go off my notes here from Village People's official website, Wiki and All Music, all combined here. So as we said, June 1981, Village People's Renaissance, 7th studio album. The previous was the May 1980 soundtrack to the bad film Can't Stop the Music. Yeah, that's right. You're talking about Village People, Valerie Perrin, Bruce Jenner, before he became whatever Bruce is now, and directed by, of all people, Nancy Walker. It was the only time that she ever directed a movie ever. And of course, if you remember Nancy Walker, you know, you're talking Bounty, paper towel commercials. She was on Rhoda, bunches of little things, Macmillan and Wife. Yeah, that Nancy Walker. So, now Can't Stop the Music in May 1980. Well, only made it to number 47 in the US charts, but it was number 9 in the UK. The English people loved it, but guess what? You know who loved it even more? Australia, because it went to number 1. Yeah, Can't Stop the Music, the soundtrack to Casablanca movie of the same name, went to number 1. Australia, New Zealand people love the Village People. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It really is crazy. So the single for Can't Stop the Music made it on the US disco charts, number 27. Number 11 in the UK, and once again, Australia, but also South Africa. It was a number 1 hit, that's right. So, a little backstory to all of this here with Renaissance. Now, the original singer, Victor Willis, of course, who was on from the first album all the way to a little bit of Can't Stop the Music. He's not on a lot. I think he's on 2 tracks of that one. And then he left, so late 1979 he left. Ray Simpson took over as the cop role, because that's what Victor Willis was, from late 79 to early 82. You have 4 original members that remained: Philippe Rose, Alex Briley, Glenn Hughes, no, not that Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple, different Glenn Hughes, and David Hodo, okay? And so they still are on this LP, all right? Now, the Casablanca label was going through label politics. If I remember correctly, by the back end of 1980, Neil Bogart, of course, was starting to have the cancer prognosis. He was the one that ran Casablanca. You're looking at, there was going to be a sale to Polygram Records by 1982. but they started cutting acts left and right. Donna Summer was another one that ended up getting chopped as well off of Casablanca at that time. RCA picks him up, and one of the RCA head executives goes off and has two suggestions for the Village People. All right, they're like, hey, get away from the costumes. All right, get away from the costumes that you guys used to use. Here's the two options we've got. Number one, you each get a different colored leather jumpsuit. Or two, the new romantic look. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I tried looking this up. I knew a little bit about the new romantic look. That got started about 1980, and I think by 84 it was gone. All right. Other examples of new romantic look. Adam Ant was the best example, okay? So if you remember what Adam Ant looked like, that's what you were looking at for new romantic. Spandau Ballet did it as well in their early period, and also for a little while, Kiss, as in Music from the Elder, they did the new romantic look. This one here is your example, oh boy, of new romantic look. All right, excuse me. Page 2, as Paul Harvey would say. All the songs were written again with Jacques Morales, Henry Bololo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and new to the mix this time, because usually Victor Willis is the one that was the third partner of the songwriting. But this time you get a guy by the name of Dennis Fredrickson. Now, if that name doesn't sound familiar to you, that's quite okay. But his earlier stage name was David London. David London happened to have a couple tracks on Can't Stop the Music. Yeah, but before that, he was the lead singer in a Chicagoland band called Trillion. He only was on the first album on Epic Records. So you get to this point here in 81, and he is co-writing the songs with the other two I just told you. After this album, he would go on to be backing vocals for Survivor for the Eye of the Tiger album. He also would be in Louisiana's LaRue for an album, and then he would jump to Toto in 1984 for the album Isolation. So Freddie had a good run for a while here. But this album here charted as follows. Australia, it was number 12. New Zealand, number 34. And in the US, 138. That's right, you heard me, 138. So you're going from, you can see that the popularity was starting to fall off. 47 for Can't Stop the Music, 138 for Renaissance. Let's get into the meat and the potatoes here of the tunes. There's only 8 songs on this album, alright? Track 1, Do You Want to Spend the Night? Okay, this is going to sound weird, but sometimes that song sounds a little like Human League with a pinch of a Lou Gramm from Foreigner type vocal at times. Definitely 80s vibe with a little four on the floor too. What I mean by that, I used to call disco music four on the floor. It was like four on the floor. So you get a little bit of disco on that one, just a little bit. Track 2, my favorite track off of this album, seriously, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to tell you, repeated listens got this song to be ear candy, seriously. At times, this tune sounds dreamlike, ethereal, the vocals, the strings, and once again I say, truth, this favorite song on this album for me. Now, also I want to throw out there, because I thought about this, I could have seen this song being sung in the late 70s, early 80s by Marvin Gaye or Smokey Robinson. Seriously. Now, unfortunately, yes, 5 o'clock in the morning, the single did get released, but it only hit big in Italy. It went to number 1 in Italy, go figure, and it was well deserved. Track 3, Fireman. This song at times sounds a little like Chic, you know, good times, Chic, that's Chic. Can't sing. Nice horn-driven funk number. Also, a little bit of James Brown Living in America vibe to it. It's good. Track track 4, Jungle City. This is a really good cooker. Harmonies are really good and good rhythm to it too. Like the lead singer on this as well. Which, by the way, for this album here, you have 4 different singers on this album from 4 of the different band members, alright? You know, that's why, because of Victor Willis's absence. Track 5, Action Man. Okay, right off the bat, it sounds like a cut off of a Devo album. Yeah, you heard me right, Devo. And I can see this as a montage song for some 80s movie. If this don't get you on a dance floor, you're dead. Also, melody line in this at time borderlines on Kinks' All Day and All of the Night. Seriously. Track 6, Big Mac. Track 7, Diet. Diet, you feel better if you try it. Pass. And lastly, track 8, Food Fight. I wrote, what the hell? Village people doing punk music? Yeah, village people doing punk music. You betcha. You gotta hear it to believe it. Great way to end this album with a food fight indeed. Now, afterwards, early 1982, Victor Willis comes back. And in July of 1982, the band releases their next record, Fox on the Box. But it wasn't released in the US, UK, or France. But it was still on RCA, except in Japan, which it was on Casablanca. They dropped the New Romantic Look by that album. So, let me ask you something. Let me ask you. Are you a Village People fan? Were you a Village People fan? I was a kid. Let's see, what was it? When they came onto the scene, 10, 11 years old I was. I liked In the Navy, Macho Man, YMCA, Go West, Cruisin'. I liked all that stuff. I did. They were good for the pop disco singles that they were of the late 70s. Disco. When you think disco, what do you think of? Village People and Casey and the Sunshine Band and the like, right? Right. But this one here really surprised the hell out of me. Really, really did. 6 out of 8 of the tracks I really enjoyed. Just 2 clunkers here. I just, you know, 2 things. Okay, 2 things. Number 1, this cover. Oh God. They could have come up with a better cover. Alright, for this album. Secondly, if they weren't the Village People, if they didn't put Village People on the record, seriously, I could have seen this being a top 50 album in 1981. Very much so. Just because you've got all of these dabblings of influence. Alright? Like I said, you get a little bit of R&B, you get Devo, it's Human League, you get all kinds of things on this album, alright? Maybe that's another reason why it didn't do so well, because maybe they were having an identity crisis, and so they were trying to cover the bases by having different styles on different songs. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I never thought that I would review a Village People record, and I have to apologize. I cannot remember who it was that suggested this album, because this was by suggestion, by the way. So, I would say at least go on YouTube, check it out. I may put some bonus video and audio in the comments, probably to 5 o'clock in the morning in Food Fight, and you guys can figure it out for there. So, I know you're asking yourself, and even if you're not, you're still going to find out anyway. What is the next episode of Jukebox From Hell? The season finale, episode 20? We are going to go ahead slightly over 7 years to the fall of 1988. This classic 70s rock band. Oh, do I love these guys. I do. I started to get to know them in the mid to late 70s for their sound. You know, but by 1988, they weren't exactly in a great place. Their popularity kind of waned in 81, 82. They attempted a concept album. There's a lot of guests on this. Unfortunately, the concept album also got them kicked off of Columbia Records. We are going to be looking at, for episode 20, Blue Oyster Cult's Imaginos. That's right. That will be the season ending of Jukebox From Hell. Now, I want to let you know something, guys. I have had, truthfully, lots of positive reviews, positive messages, even some emails that have come down to me in regards to this series so far. And I want to thank you guys for all of those well wishes and the positive. I can accept constructive criticism. I can, okay? Unlike some people in the VC. But I'm also going to ask you this. I already have 4 Season 3 episodes locked in, okay? If you have a suggestion for a future Jukebox From Hell episode, drop it in the comments, please. I will look over everything. Now, it's not always going to be vinyl. I had CDs mostly in Season 1, alright? We might be doing some CD because some of it just didn't come out on vinyl, or I ain't paying $100 for an album. But we will have some interesting choices for Season 3 coming up of Jukebox From Hell. Like and subscribe, please. I'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers. That would mean a lot to me. Everybody, I don't know, just have a great day. This is Labor Day weekend. Just take care. God bless. Rock on. Remember, always powered by coffee each and every time. Till next time, same bad channel.